This means we're doing 400k DPS right now, day 1 campaign equipment. Wolf actually asks me not to post this video or GGG will nerf this insanely broken build. Well, running and clearing tier 15 maps, still in campaign gear, without any uniques. What can be better? Yeah, this wolf is just completely insane, and I will explain you how you can easily destroy everything in Path of Exile 2 with very interesting gameplay in my opinion. Yeah, they definitely nailed Wolf, and Wolf feels amazing, and it exactly feels right in terms of combinations and how much damage they will provide. Because look, damage on Shred right now is 16k, but this buff alone instantly almost doubles it. There's actually extra multiplying mechanics when we will be on the map, and coolest part, with my setup we can run this buff forever, so we're permanently getting almost like 300-400% bonus damage all the time, but we're inflicting a lot more. So let's jump on the map and see how to play this wolf. Basically I started leveling with wolf, and there's a separate guide on my first channel that explains leveling process, and there's full run, and I will leave everything in the description, but let's talk about this overpowered endgame version of the build. Since technically while leveling we used exactly the same strats, and here you can level like this pretty easily if you do all combinations right. So if you're just starting out your wolf, make sure in early game not to use this skill constantly. It eats your mana and you will need loads of mana. In reality you want to use the skill just like few times, and then you want to attack with your basic attack. Yeah, wolf got basic attack, and it looks like this. Pow 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 poo poo. It's insane combination, it's just super broken. And if you are new to Path of Exile 2, you will get question how to get extra sockets on your basic attack, and these sockets will be added not by you with separate gems, they will be added when you level up. So I'm right now 87, at level 90 I will get 5th socket. That's basically how it works. Okay, so technically there's like basic combination for clearing, but in reality when you got enough damage you will just go and do left right. Still, if enemy got nice like resistance, or you can destroy him like really fast, you will freeze him first of all, and even when he is blocking freeze. So if you don't know, basically when you freeze enemy, the next time you freeze him, he won't be frozen really easily. But as you can see, this guy got destroyed instantly, and that's the combination you want to learn, and you want to understand how it works to completely obliterate your enemies as wolf. So skill number 1, Lunar Assault. It converts damage to cold damage. If you deal cold damage, well, you freeze enemies. First of all, you chill them, so they will be slowed down, and they will be insanely slow, because the skill got insane magnitude for chill and also for freeze build-up. With quality, also you will get more cold damage. So it's pretty powerful stuff to freeze your enemies. It's nice attack speed, but not very fast. And Shred is insanely fast attack speed, very nice damage, but it's kinda like physical damage, so you will need correct passive skill tree to inflict more cold and lightning damage and not physical. And also good weapon. So about weapon, on weapon you always want to use this form, so make sure you select wolf form, otherwise you won't have Shred. I guess it's pretty much self-explanatory. What you're looking for on weapon, basically you're looking for lightning damage, cold damage, attack speed, and elemental damage with attacks. It will be basic combination like super good. For mapping right now I'm using life on kill and mana on kill. That's basically what I crafted, kinda crafted by just YOLO slamming Exalted Orbs. So it was like pretty good weapon, considering I just randomly got it. But basically that's what you want to look for. Increased physical damage also works. Increased physical damage will have less cold damage on Shred, but it doesn't matter. What does matter is how you use these two skills. Lunar Assault will be used only to freeze enemies, and Shred will be used to shred them. Because whenever you attack enemies who is frozen, they will create ice fragments. And what is ice fragments? It's fragments, they will stay on the ground and they will detonate in a few seconds. And that's actually how guy that we just saw died. So basically we freeze enemy, then frozen enemy should be attacked by poo poo poo, and that's the ice fragments. So take a look, this is ice fragments, we're looking at them right now. they staying on the ground and they will detonate. They will deal damage. So basically with these ice fragments I can just lure enemies towards them, and these ice fragments can end them all. Now that you know combination, our next skill. Pounce. Yeah, Pounce will be used for clearing, and early on you just use it with something like Fist of War. It will be just everything you need. Cooldown recovery, Fist of War, and third socket can be Eternal Mark. By the way, POB right now does not work. So in the end of this video I will just cover all gems one by one, and also I will post passive skill tree in my Discord, so you can get it. And also I will show it by the end of the video, so don't worry. And basically, let's get back to Pounce. So Pounce put mark on enemy, and this mark will increase damage taken by enemy if there's a lot of guys nearby this enemy. Basically, when you kill enemies with Pounce, you will summon wolves, and therefore against bosses you can summon wolves later. It will increase damage. It's nice buff if you got like 1 million of wolves, but still it's limited to 45% increased damage. I'm playing solo wolf. We don't need any wolves. We just pounce and that's it. Since we don't need wolves, I inserted freezing mark. So freezing mark in pounce is insanely good because it got changed and now it works pretty easily. You pounce, enemy will take more freeze build up, and more is multiplicative bonus. And again, with this build, I was able to perma freeze tier 15 bosses. So they constantly frozen. That's just insane. And here's the deal. Mark will be consumed and you will gain damage as cold damage. And at level 12, it's 30%. So most important part for this build is to hit your attribute marks, because there's not a lot of attributes in passive skill tree, and mark is level 12 right now. You don't need high level mark, actually, try to get as high as possible, but don't worry about it too much. Like, keep it at level 12, it will be enough. With Fist of War we will ancestrally boost the skill, and it will look like this. Basically you pounce and you boom. And you can even use it for clearing, so pounce, boom, and that's it. Just freeze enemies. You can use it for movement. Most of the time you will try to back away and pounce on enemy to just initiate attack, and against bosses we will see like precise combinations that we will do. But basically again, freeze, pum 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 pum, back, and you see we need to wait loads of projectiles fired towards us, because it takes so much time for these little icy crystals to detonate and destroy one single skeleton. So they are not viable until you start using your next skill. And next skill is cross slash. So cross slash will kind of finish our movement combinations. That's the last skill in our arsenal, and it's super easy, so you need to understand how it looks like. It looks like this. So that's the pattern. It's like two claws, and where you press over here in the middle is the most important part. This skill first of all will deal damage. That's cool, but we will use mostly to jump backwards, because your character jump backs a little bit, and initially I thought that this skill will be awful because most jump backs is just awful in this game, but this one feels great. You just quickly jump back and disengage from enemy, and at the same time you attack enemy over here. But again, like, area of the skill will be something like this, and this area, if there's any little particles, for example, like this projectiles, they're actually projectiles, ice crystals. So all ice crystals will be pulled towards the center. That's basically how it works. Now when you understand this, basically you kinda get a grasp of our basic combination, I guess. So we freeze, we create ice fragments, and then we pow, and they pulled. So ice fragments, and these ice fragments can be pulled. Once again, oh my goodness, can you survive? So ice fragments. Now look, these ice fragments, I will attack Mr. Rattling Giblet, and he will take damage from ice fragments. They will be pulled towards him. So, pow, you see, pretty easy. And as far as I can see, you're not so amazed. Don't worry, you will be amazed now. So, with my build, we get ice fragments, and every attack, we fire 5 projectiles. 5, so there's no limit. Whenever we hit frozen targets, so this target is frozen, every attack shoots projectiles. You see, there's like 1 million of projectiles. There was like ice nova on the ground. So he's frozen, pow, and basically everyone is destroyed. Yeah, that's like the main idea and main combination against boss. But I promise you to make one-shot build and insane damage amplificator. So technically, right now, we can even ignore numbers and just take a look at our attack speed. It's around 5 attacks per half a second, I guess, so maybe like 7-8 attacks a second. I was almost perfect. It's 6.8 attacks per second. By the way, in the end game, if you find Fungal Talisman, it will increase your attack speed. Very good for this build. Storm Talisman is also nice, but Fungal is very great. So we're hitting insanely fast. We're doing 7 attacks per second. Technically, in 1 second, you can create 45 projectiles, 45 ice fragments. I tested loads of stuff for fragments. I tried Nova Projectile, and sadly, with Nova Projectile, they just stop spawning. They just disappear. So we can't make... Actually, we can make this number 9, but it does not work. So we will keep it 5. 5 is great. Now, 1 second means 45 projectiles. Every projectile will deal on average 3k damage. So technically, no matter what our DPS on Shred, we can multiply 45 projectiles every second, 3k damage. It's 120k DPS. 120k DPS right now. With good weapons, but not best in slot, nothing crazy, rings are just generic rings. But we will instantly multiply this number almost to million. Yeah, I already hitting for like millions of damage pretty easily on day 1. Haven't even completed my Nexuses, running tier 15th and having fun. So, how we will multiply damage? And it's pretty easy, so we will multiply it by our buffs. Our ultimate ability, our Warcry, and bunch of extra stuff on top. So Warcry, Arctic Hull. You will Warcry, it cannot freeze, but it will freeze primed for freeze enemies. So technically it can freeze, but not building freeze. And also it grants you buff. It buffs attacks, but you don't care about this empower, you care about buff. A buff will last for 8 seconds. And for 8 seconds you will have 42 added cold damage to your attacks. 42 is pretty big number. I got basically the same number on my weapon right now, so I'm basically doubling this number. And Arctic Hull will look like this, and also we will use it in different occasions, especially early in the maps when you're struggling to survive, maybe you don't have enough armor. You can use it to engage. You will Warcry, oops, wrong skill. So you will Warcry and go in, and it will hit enemies few times, look. So it's actually protecting us. It's very nice skill, and it protects us only because of very good support gem. The support gem is Echoing Cry. So Echoing Cry will make this skill deal less damage, but we don't care about damage, we care about how it works. So now I can pop the skill, go on enemies, attack once, and then they will be frozen, because this skill basically will freeze primed enemies and we will get bonus damage and so on and so on. Pretty good. About bonus damage, we right now got double damage on ice fragments, so technically right now we're doing around 240k DPS, since this number over here is almost doubled. How it happening? Basically there's two things going on. First of all, we just attacking enemies, and when we freezing them, and we're freezing them a lot, our Lunar Assault with Ice Bite will give us this buff. But also, when we pounce on enemy with freezing mark and freeze them, we will get double buff. So that's how it looks like. And if we Warcry at the same time, that's basically where our damage comes from. So that's how to get full damage. Pounce, freeze, and if Warcry is already on, you will get full damage. So again, it's nice engagement tactic. I like that we need to think about how to engage mobs right now. It's pretty interesting game. So that's basically how it works and how we multiply our damage. But that's not it. There's still ultimate ability, Lunar Blessing. Lunar Blessing gives us buff. So this buff is insane. You can read that this skill knocks back enemies, but actually it's insanely sluggish. Just look at this. You press the button and you need to wait. So maybe you push back enemies, but in my experience I actually die more often using this skill than push back enemies. That's why I developed this trick. So you can press Lunar Blessing and you can instantly dodge roll. Look, it will look like this. Hop, and we dodge roll. So we wasting no time and we instantly running away from enemies. Make sure you use this combination because it's like pretty useful if you want to survive. Become white and move. So try to move as fast as possible. If you do it really fast, you can break animation and you won't become white, but it's also fine. It won't go on cooldown. So this skill is insanely powerful because even without any buffs, just by popping the skill, we get same damage as with full buffs. And again, all this damage stuff is multiplicative. So when I jump, when I freeze, look at our damage now. Our damage right now is 6.4k. It's already multiplied by quite a big amount. So it takes all your damage and you gain 57% of all your damage as cold damage. With quality it will give us even more. It's just insane. Basically it's doubling your damage and it gives you this damage as cold damage, but at the same time there's Moonbeam, and Moonbeam, every time you attack it will fire a bunch of Moonbeams around, and cooldown is 1 second, so it's not like 5 times per second, but it's also insanely massive and powerful because it will take your attack damage and basically deal 2 times more. So technically it's like doubling your damage and doubling your damage again. This buff is just insanely broken and powerful, and it just melts everything. So this powerful thing should have some downsides, and there is cooldown. Cooldown time right now is 10 seconds, and 10 seconds achieved by cooldown recovery. However, there is a thing. When this stuff ends, then cooldown starts. So technically, while you're in a wolf form, cooldown still persists. And if you play it normally, you just can't use it while mapping. So for example, when I see pack of monsters, I can pack this stuff, I can jump in, I attack, and then when this buff ends, well, that's it. I kinda can't attack them, I need to back off because there is no buff. We need to wait 20 seconds with prolonged duration, with cooldown recovery it's 10 seconds and it's not playable, let's be honest. However, there is solution. I won't wait until the end of the video, I will explain you right now. So it's second wind 3. Yeah, in the end game you can add the support gem and it will have less cooldown recovery. That's bad, it will kinda make cooldown worse, but at the same time it will give us ability to use the skill twice. And now look, we see there is Lunar Blessing, we can use it, and it goes on cooldown, kinda. It doesn't go on cooldown because we got this Lunar Blessing. But after using it once, we can use it instantly once again, but it will be on cooldown. So it kinda tries to refresh its cooldown, and as you can see, we're right now almost finishing this buff, and we don't have like 3 seconds to use it without any interruptions. However, there's a trick how to make it work. Not a trick actually, it's skill mechanic. So whenever you hit enemies, you generate rage. And a lot of players I know actually having troubles with rage right now because they see no stacks in passives, but rage moved. So on controller interface it looks like this, it's over here, but also your characters are becoming red, like more and more red. You will see that you getting like runes on your back. And your idea is to use this skill when you got rage. So you start map, you just use the skill, you engage combat, and you will generate rage. How you will generate rage? Mostly with war cry. So basically by using the skill, we're actually generating rage if there's like powerful enemies around. At least you should do it with raging war cry. But in my experience, we actually need to use this skill and then attack enemies. And this will generate rage. So basically like empowered attacks generating rage. Maybe it's bug, who knows. Anyway, when you got rage, Lunar Blessing will get 0.2 seconds extra time per 1 point of rage. Normally you will have like 30 points of rage, therefore with full rage you get like 6 extra seconds. And that's exactly enough to constantly stay in this wolf form, to be extremely powerful all the time without any stoppages. And just go melt everyone. As you can see, everyone starts to just disappear. You just cry and melt everyone again. So non-stop. But if you take a closer look, my damage just quadrupled. Yeah. Oh my goodness. What is the damage right now? We're doing 7 attacks every second. Let's call it 7. But right now it's 45 projectiles. Like really 45 projectiles, because it's 5 multiplied by 7. It's 45. Every projectile doing 9k damage. So 9k. And this means we're doing 400k DPS. Right now, day 1 campaign equipment. Guys, if this is not broken, let's fight versus boss then. So while we're going, I will explain you a little bit of mapping. Again, we want to freeze. Big guys will be attacked by this stuff and then finish with cross slash. So freeze, shred, slash. With better equipment, we will be able to just do using this freeze attack without any extra stuff, I guess. Maybe sometime with cross slash. But technically, that's basically how you move. If you see difficult situation, move back, then jump, then pounce, get into wolf form, pounce for even more damage, and you're quite interested in how we quadrupled the damage, I guess, because I, for some reason, decided not to tell you instantly. Yeah, it's our buff So buff called Savage Fury. It uses Fury and its different resources. Basically you attack and you generate Fury. You can pop it instantly, but the duration is 0.5 seconds, so you won't be able to attack actually. But full duration when you build 20 Fury, so basically you need to deal like 20 attacks and you will get full Fury. You will have 10-second duration. It will be even higher duration with prolonged duration support gem. And downside is we're losing 3% of maximum life per second, but this downside is pretty easily counterable by our passive skill tree, by some equipment, and by support gem Vitality. It kinda takes away downsides, and you will see that you got this 100% of Savage Fury, and that's basically how full boss combination looks like. You do Arctic Hull, you Savage Fury, do this beam, and jump forward, freeze, and then start popping him out. Create these ice shards and just melt the boss. We will do it exactly right now. Again, cool part, while there's some cooldowns, they will mostly be unnoticeable, and if you got enough power you can even map without turning on this wolf form all the time. But again, like, why this build is so cool. You can start campaign and without any gear in end game you will be able to play normally. You won't have any troubles, because this build kinda covers you in terms of gear. You just get loads of power, and also there's nice defensive layers. I will tell you about defensive layers after the boss fight. So we're going to the boss fight. This guy is actually hard because he got really big ice resistance, so it will be, let's say, not perfect demonstration, but at least you will see combinations. So we need to turn on all skills, then put the mark, start freezing him, and guys with big resistance will freeze like this, so pretty slowly. And then you attack him as much as possible and cross slash by the end, so he instantly down, but he can't be down because that's like boss mechanic. And we go into combination again. So mark, freezing him. He will be frozen in like no seconds. Now we're attacking to make a lot of ice crystals, and as you can see there's like loads of them, and technically he is out. But what if you fight kind of standard enemy, because not every boss will be freeze resistant. This guy was pretty like freeze resistant. I guess he is closer to Arbiter of Ash. I'm really curious how this build will perform against Arbiter. I will be going for him soon. This one feeling great in Breach. In Delirium it's kinda okayish. So in Delirium there's a problem. As you can see, these guys are being destroyed pretty quickly because we're using Herald of Ice at the same time. It helps us with this kind of enemies. When there's loads of enemies around, they kinda shatter when we freeze them and destroy them, and they deal big explosion damage to nearby guys. But Delirium guys never explode. There is solutions, however, they are easily frozen, and I guess for Delirium encounter we will just craft a Herald of Thunder for extra damage, or maybe Herald of Ash, because we got higher strength on our character, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's move and try our power against next enemy. So yes, he was saved, but I guess you saw this crazy damage. Yes, it was over million DPS in reality when we unveil our full combination. So let's quickly go over each support gem and then talk about passive skill tree. So you can copy build if you wish to. For Shred we want to attack faster, it's Rapid Attacks 2, it's Rage 3, it's Multi-Shot. Multi-Shot actually applies to projectiles, so we summon 5 instead of 1. And that's my special stuff, it's Long Fuse. Long Fuse is insane, it will increase detonation time, therefore you will have more time to attack a little bit more, and then use cross slash to trigger all these icy fragments. Now, Lunar Assault is just elemental armament 2. We want to attack with as much cold damage as possible to freeze enemies sooner. Ice Bite, because we always freeze, and it will give us extra damage on top after we freeze enemy. Bitter, so this skill gains only cold damage as extra damage. And Rapid Attacks, to attack faster. For Cross Slash, I'm using Elemental Ornament 2, Culmination 2, since it's finisher, it will have more damage. We will generate combo no matter what. Close Combat, we are attacking from the close range, it should have this extra damage. And Pinpoint Critical, sometimes it critical strikes and it just melts 2 million HP bosses in a second. Still my damage and main critical hit chance should be on Shred, but it's later augmentation. We're not speccing with Critical Strike right now, with Critical Strike it will be just insane. Then for pounds, it's Freezing Mark of highest level you can get. In my experience, it's level 12, most optimal one. Eternal Mark, so it's not consumed when we first time activate it, and you can pounce instantly cross slash. You will instantly get bonus from freezing mark, so you will get this extra damage as cold damage. Cooldown recovery and Fist of War. Fist of War for area of effect damage, so we can use it for clearing small monsters every now and then, and cooldown recovery to use it more often, because cooldown is pretty big on this skill without this skill, without support gem. Arctic Hall with Echoing Cry, so we can use it as an engagement tool. Raging Cry to get rage and cooldown recovery. Again, the skill is with cooldown, you want to make it less. Lunar Blessing, it's prolonged duration with cooldown recovery 2 and second wind 3. So that's the combination to make Lunar Blessing unlimited, and you can stay in this buff forever. Savage Fury, right now only with prolonged duration. Mostly you can drop some like support buffs on top, like Vitality, but it doesn't matter where you got it. Herald of Ice to help us clear with Elemental Ornament, Magnified Area and Elemental Focus. You don't care about Herald of Ice being able to shock enemies, it's mostly just for shattering, so stuff that will increase area and will increase damage will work. It's just small buff, but it helps like a little bit. The last buff is Barskin, and Barskin is pretty interesting. When you hit by enemy, you will gain armor equal to 41% of energy shield lost. So for example, we got 1k energy shield, we will get 400 armor if we lose this energy shield, and duration is 6 seconds, more than enough to regenerate this energy shield. So if you're not going like complete unga bunga left and right and see who's better in face tanking enemies, you can easily take a hit, then you can easily get back, bounce back, disengage, wait a little bit, regenerate your energy shield, and then get back, and you will constantly get this nice armor buff. Now passive skill tree, I will do it pretty fast. I will explain what we take and why, but here's the bottom part, so you can instantly screenshot and copy this. And here's the top part. Again, you can screenshot and easily copy the stuff. Now let's go and quickly understand what's going on. So here we're taking damage, attack speed, critical hit chance while shapeshifted. And we're going over here to get area damage. Again, increased damage, that helps. Now every defensive node I will show you, I took after every offensive node. So I started with offense only, I cleared tier 15, it was hard, a little bit hard, but then I started to invest in my defense and now we are like pretty good. So this will increase armor, maximum energy shield and a little bit of ailment threshold, always nice. Area of effect and immobilization build up. Immobilization build up is really big for us because again we will build freeze a lot. And here we got increased armor and energy shield, again it's late gameish nodes. Here I took only immobilization build up and attack damage, and that's the little one will give us start of energy shield recharge rate while shape shifted. So it's pretty good number because normally energy shield starts to recharge after 2.6 seconds. And that's while we shape shifted. Without this it's 3.5 seconds. This second is actually a big difference, so I really recommend taking this, especially later in the game. Now overall our journey is going over here on this highway and then to the top and to the bottom part. On our way I'm taking skill effect duration, it's super big because this will give us ability to stay in our buffs for longer. It's also part of equation how to get unlimited lunar form. Skill speed, just nice for attack speed, for high attack speed, it's really cool and fun stuff. Maybe we'll respec it later. My attack speed is through the roof already. So here we get penetration. A little bit of penetration is really nice. Still, in my experience, is not enough. Maybe we will need to find a little bit of penetration later. I took increased damage against shocked enemies and increased damage against chilled enemies. With chill and cold damage, it's pretty straightforward. With shock, so we shock because we get high lightning damage on our talisman, on our weapon. You need to make sure you got this access to shock because shocking enemies is really nice. It increases damage taken by them by a lot. Then over here we get rage on melee hit and 12 to maximum rage while shape shifted. So that's a big buff. 12 maximum rage is actually gives us 12% more damage overall while we got this rage, but at the same time it gives us a little bit more time in lunar form. However, that's actually one of the nodes that we can respec if you wish to. Still, I like it right now. I'm running this right now, but later maybe I will respec it over here to increase freeze build up. We will see against Arbiter of Ash, basically against pinnacle bosses. Another option will be on the top right part. So here's like, where is it? Penetration of elemental resistances, penetration of cold resistance, and chance to treat enemy resistances as inverted. 15% chance is more than enough when you attack 7 times per second, so it's pretty good. Now on this highway, on the bottom part, it's a little bit of resistances. You can take it from here to get this cold damage application. Basically your armor will be applied to your cold damage, but I took fire. Because in my experience, when we stand on fire and we take ignition damage, it's super bad, especially when we got buffs that lowering our health over time. So this is really smart stuff to have. And that's another little secret for clearing. So first of all, we're increasing our area of effect, but at the same time, strikes will deal splash damage. This means when enemies is together, basically in breach, in other locations when there's like lots of enemies, our strikes, and that's most of our attacks, will splash. Not most of our attacks. Lunar Assault is strike. And this gives us ability to basically forget about shenanigans with like double heralds, chain explosions and stuff like that. We just run and gun, we just hit, and this melts screens. Technically it deals double damage to enemies in area, it's pretty crazy. Then we're getting this increased damage in skill shapeshift form, skill speed, so pretty like powerful nodes, and also gain damage as extra cold damage. Also the next one, increased armor and magic energy shield. It's just super big bonus, a 60% increased armor and energy shield from equipped body armor. Therefore we need to have mixed body armor. So with these nodes you want to have body armors that got energy shield and armor at the same time, as high as possible. And I totally missed these nodes, so we got increased armor and energy shield over here, but it finishes with you getting +3 to armor per 1 energy shield on equipped boots. So this means you want to have boots with full evasion rating. Oh, I mean full energy shield, of course. So for boots we're looking for pure energy shield boots, and this pretty basic like energy shield boots. They can be a lot better, but this will work for now. Got 200 energy shield. This means these boots provide me with 600 armor. It's just crazy. So boots providing more energy shield and armor than my helmet, and helmet is actually good. I mean, it's like okay for league start, day 1. Anyway, let's continue to our passive skill tree. It's damage while shapeshifted, and immobilized enemies will take more damage. Yeah, we will have increased damage against immobilized enemies. Also, I took this damage as extra fire damage, and also it's really big because, as you may remember, our Lunar Assault will take any damage as cold damage. Therefore, again, it increases our freeze build up by a lot. And here, the same stuff, we're gaining damage as extra lightning damage while shape-shifted. Also increased elemental damage while shape-shifted, pretty like cool stuff. And then final stuff is over here. Increased elemental damage if you dealt critical hit recently, and we dealing critical hits a lot, even with 10% critical hit chance, because we are attacking 7 times per second. So anyway, you will critical strike at least once every like 4 seconds, and recently is exactly 4 seconds. And also I took this +5 to all elemental resistances and increased elemental damage, pretty big one. I took this jewel node over here, and I was thinking about going over here to get faster recharge of energy shield, to be mobile in the fight, and also I wanted to try this maximum energy shield per 8 item armor on equipped helmet. So idea was to get helmet with big armor, and it can definitely work, something like this. So the biggest on the market right now is 1.3k, so technically this helmet will give us plus 150 energy shield. That's why I decided it's not a big deal and it's not worth it, actually. And instead, I will go over here and get this big increased movement speed, increased armor, and increased maximum energy shield. It's just super good buff. It will increase our protection from different elemental ailments and stuff like that. And you probably saw there's a bunch of shields around me. That's because of our ascendancy. Right now I got 6 points. First point was invested over here to have exposure to applied to enemies around us. Then I invested over here, increased defenses, basically armor, energy shield, and all other stuff. And we gain bonded modifiers from runes. It's pretty cool because when we drop 2 lightning runes inside of our talisman, we're not getting only lightning damage, we're getting also increased magnitude of shock. It's really powerful. For armor pieces, it's a lot easier, it's just plus maximum life and mana, but again, little by little, we're getting pretty beefier. And great runes like this got even funnier stuff. For example, this rune will have feature skills have +2 to limit. It doesn't apply to soul cores, so this class should actually build chaos resistance on gear. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to craft my gear and then use some runes that will have loads of additional bonuses. And there's loads of insanely broken ones, like plus level 2 attack skills, or gaining 8 damage as extra physical damage that will be converted. Again, pretty crazy. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you will have blast trying this wolf for yourself. Make sure to subscribe and see you in the next ones.